Hi everyone, StariAri, and I'm here to give you guys an update on my third day of this liquid diet. So last night I noticed that I had very peculiar dreams. I did a meditation before sleep to clear any more blockages, things like that, as well as I did a self-healing meditation, inner child work, and then I fell asleep. I didn't remember as much as I usually do, but then I did go into what looked like a twilight looking type of realm. So every time there's a darker, kind of like a night-ish type of realms that I go to when I go astral or when I go to sleep or whatever, I always connect it to the fourth dimension, and I always connect it to an aspect of myself that I need to go and pretty much reintegrate through healing, of course, and then allowing that aspect to come back in. So last night it was kind of like a what would have been type of aspect or type of dream. So there was I was on an island, and the reason why I knew I was on an island is because there was a map. When I was looking at the map, I was like, my location was right there on kind of like the far right side of the island, and then other locations around there were being highlighted, and it was just weird. So I was my same self. I had my mother there, my sister, my daughter, and we were in a crowd of a lot of people who it seemed like we were graduating from something, and I was in line getting waiting for my whatever it was that we were getting as a gift for graduation or whatnot. It was weird. So then I go and get whatever they gave. Like kind of looked like a scepter, and then I walk away with my mother and my sister, and then they're telling me that we have to go to this other location. So I look at the map of the island again, and I'm like, okay, let's go over here. And so we're like driving and not really driving. If you guys ever go astral, it's kind of like you're driving, but you're not. You're flying pretty much or something. But everybody was in the vehicle. The vehicle was transparent because I could see everything around us. And then, so we go to this, what looked like a palace, and walk in there, and I see people that you would recognize that are celebrities and that are rich or whatever. And I was just like, but they look dark. Like, put it this way, I looked a little bit lighter, my family looked lighter, and then these people looked dark, like the same kind of color as the background of the energy that we stepped into of the dimension. So it's kind of like a twilight type of energy. That's how they looked, but they still had like nice clothes on and stuff like that. And we're just like I was kind of like, huh, interesting. I looked at one of them in particular. It was a masculine energy, and he was what looked like some type of royalty type of person. And then he looked very dark, and then he could see kind of like his skin was cracking in some parts of his face, and then you could see like scabbing and like kind of like redness, and just weird looking and kind of sickly looking as well. And so I go and talk to him, and he talks about how everything is overwhelming him and how he is the last one. He is the last one. He keeps repeating that he's the last one. He's the last one. And I'm just like, the last one for what? And he's like, I'm the last one. And then I was like, okay. So I start doing some, like, helping him tap into his inner healing. And we start doing that. And then he like transforms. Everything transforms. and he like leaves. Then I get out of that location and we drive off again, and then we go to refuel. And I was like, we don't need to refuel. It was just the weirdest thing. When I dream these dreams, I'm very conscious of who I am. And so that's why I always question things, as well as I always kind of look like, this is kind of weird. We're not supposed to be doing this, And so anyway, we go to refuel, and it was like I was putting gas in there, and like the valve wouldn't cut off so that it would overflow. So I had to make sure that I was mindful and watching the gas like line or whatever. And then so then I turned and left, and then I woke up, and then this morning I did meditation, I did yoga, I did my daily, weighed myself. By the way, I lost 2 pounds since I've started this. And so it was just very interesting to see these aspects of the self playing out in that way. And when I saw and when I thought about the dream later on, I thought, oh, well, you know what? It correlates with what I was doing before I went to sleep, but it's playing out in a different manner, of course. So I kind of liked in that I was connected somehow to this masculine being, somehow the last one of whatever it is that I was cycling through. And so that made sense to me that I just closed a cycle. It had to do with masculine energy. And it's true, because whenever we are being faced with a person who tries hard to push our buttons, or tries to have a negative reaction from us, or get a negative reaction from us because they still believe that themselves as a victim, that masculine energy, the energy that you put out, that you're not gonna mess with me energy, is important. The I'm not gonna be your doormat energy is important. And so when I healed that aspect, or masculine, and he was saying, I am the last one, I am the last one, I felt that was true with the cycle that I just went through recently. And I felt that cycle it's done, like it's done in that it's not going to present itself in the physical realm anymore, that I am healing it internally, and so it doesn't need to be represented in that fashion anymore. Of course, there's still layers to healing, but because I have taken it upon my upon myself to do the inner healing, that it's going to continue to become inner healing work, but it won't manifest necessarily with a toxic person like that in the in this reality, I guess. So I'm pretty relieved about that. So I like the fact that I'm getting these insights like quick, because usually it'll take me a while, because I tend to be very inclusive. Like, I tend to not judge people based on energy right away, because I tend to ask myself, why do I feel this way? Why does their energy feels this way? I need to understand this better. And because I do that, I get myself involved into something that might have been helpful for like less than a month, and then I would have known, okay, this person obviously doesn't need my help. This person is just using me. This person is just trying to gain some type of leverage over me, or an upper hand, or something like that. And so that's when I realized, oh my God, this cycle is over. I'm not going to have any of these people show up anymore, because I'll be ready to be like, you're done. So I just wanted to give you guys this insight. And my energy level is actually a little bit higher today. I woke up straight away. I didn't lollygag like I usually do, where I just lay down in my bed and I just like, should I wake up? Should I get up or not? So day 3, energy levels are good. I didn't drink my shake right away. I wasn't hungry. So I noticed a difference there too, where I was like, okay, I'm not hungry, but I am thirsty. So I drank water before I drank my shake. And then, like, 2 hours later, I drank my shake, the first shake of the day. And then 3 hours after that, I drank another one. But in between, I've been drinking water. So I have noticed that my appetite is suppressed, and I have noticed that I just don't even want to, or haven't craved regular food. I did get down to looking at like kind of like the food that I usually make, or what I used to make at home. I started to analyze it, like the calories, the fats, and all that stuff, to see if I can maintain the 1,200 caloric intake daily with the type of food that I usually make for my family. And I've noticed that I can, and that's a good thing, because I don't make unhealthy food as it is. I just need to watch how much I intake. So I have to make sure that the sizes, their portion sizes, are correct, because then that'll add up to that much calorie intake per day. And so I've been even looking into replacing meat with something more healthier as well. And I have to tell you guys, it's anything that's processed, especially if it's vegan friendly, anything like that has really high calories. And so it's very important not to buy it just because it's vegan friendly. Make sure that you look at the labels and everything like that. I would just stick to just fruits and vegetables if that's the case, because anything that's over processed, stuff like that, has a higher calorie count. So if you guys want to lose weight when you're doing this diet or this cleanse afterwards, or making sure that you don't gain the weight back, that's what I recommend, is making sure that you come in with eating fruits and vegetables first, and then incorporating every other thing that you used to eat. But of course, portion sizes are very important, because then that's the way, like my friend was telling me, she was telling me how, okay, you can't eat too much of this, you can't eat too much of that. You could eat a little bit at a time, but don't overdo it, because then you're kind of fasting, and your body is going to be like, whoa, like my metabolism is slowed down to a point where if I do the regular stuff that I used to do, I would gain that weight back and then more. So my friend was telling me, because I talked to her, I was just like, what if I make this and this and that, or whatever, I used to make this or whatever, and she's just like, well, you can, but just watch your portion sizes, and you just make sure that you read all the labels, you see how many carbs, you see how many calories, you see how many sugars or starches and stuff like that, and then you make sure that you don't overly eat processed food either. Like overly processed food would be like canned vegetables that are sodium based, like they're too much sodium. Just eat fresh fruit and fresh vegetables. Kind of like dried vegetables too, unless you have a air dryer thingy or whatever. Don't eat the ones that are made for you already, because that's a lot of sugars and a lot of salt. Another thing she was telling me is pastas. If you're gonna have pasta, just make sure that you have like whole grain. If you don't like whole grain, and you could even get the gluten-free ones, but again, small portions, because that's still processed. And then, of course, tofu, stuff like that. I wouldn't eat tofu. I don't like tofu. But she was telling me how it's overly processed, and you got to really watch what you eat when it comes to that stuff. And then other things, other things like cheeses and like meats and stuff like that. It's just portion control. That's all it is. And so she's been coaching me through this. And you know, it's funny. I was looking at videos and like about how to cook stuff, and then I see like people using butter, and I'm like grossed out now. And it's not that okay, I'm just grossed out because I'm not eating solids, and then when I see fatty stuff like that, I'm just like, oh God, I don't understand why I even like that, you know? And so that's how my reaction is to seeing stuff like that. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you guys about what's going on spiritually and emotionally and physically with me. I have been peeing clear. If you guys want to know, my urine has been very, very clear, and stools are frequent. As frequent as they're supposed to be when you're on a liquid diet. But there's nothing wrong, you know. I have noticed that my sinuses are clearing up too. So that's one thing I noticed is I have a lot of like sinus coming out, like clearing and stuff like that, because my third eye is very active now. And so it's just like, like it's just, whoop, get rid of this. So I highly recommend, and I just see orbs all the time. So I highly recommend, if you guys do want to do this, to talk to a nutritionist or a dietary specialist first, and then see what they can do for you, like give you information, even getting like your weight and your BMI taken, and then seeing what's the proper caloric intake for you, especially depending on how active you are with you know, like if you're walking all the time, you're standing up all the time, or you're exercising, you're hitting the gym, you have to make sure you account for the calories that you're going to be burning when you do these activities. Because if you're doing mild activity like I am, and that means like yoga and stuff like that, then 1,200 calories a day is fine. But if I do more strenuous activity like running or weight training, I have to up my calorie intake so that I don't kind of like plateau. Because usually people plateau at a certain weight when they're doing this, because their caloric intake isn't proper for the amount of activity that they do. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I'm feeling good. My fiance said that my face looks like it's clear, and then he said my neck looks like it's smaller, so I guess that's a good thing. But I am feeling better, like energy-wise. I do have more energy today. So this is day 3 out of 14 that I'm going to be doing. So yeah, that's all I got. All right, you guys, thank you again for watching and supporting. Love you. Bye.